After the attack on America on 9/11/2001, America hit back, taking the fight to the Middle East. The detention camp on the U.S. naval base in Cuba was set up to hold those considered the most dangerous.
Sharon, we went to Guantanamo Bay weeks after Quad Cityans arrived there to guard those detainees. These images, captured by KWQC photojournalist Randy Berry, were among the first and last to show what life was like there in this compound. This exclusive video was unlike anything seen before or after. And tonight, nearly 15 years later, we talk to those who were on the front lines of Gitmo history. Tonight, we take you back to the Bay. Welcome to Gitmo 2002. Hundreds of suspected terrorists guarded by Quad Cityans in the 339th MP unit. Single mom of two, Misty, among them.
We're living in tents. We have to go to Porta-John every time.
She would soon discover that using porta potties is one thing, cleaning them is another.
So the only avenue was for them to use a 5-gallon bucket, and because they weren't classified as POWs, they couldn't empty their own buckets, so we got to empty them.
Among the first care packages of cards and letters came much-needed supplies of more sanitary gloves.
The community of the Quad Cities actually got together, and we had so many gloves coming after that, different sizes, and oh, the quality was much better.
My mom takes it pretty hard, but she's getting by it.
Mom was pretty scared about it, but after I called her a couple times, she calmed down.
Jason Stahl was getting his start as an MP, going from active duty to reserves. He was eager to serve.
We were still receiving detainees in, so everything was changing all the time. And it was, scary. When you're inside the wire, you always had to be aware of what was going on.
Yes, this is where all the soldiers stay in Tent City.
Jason gave us a tour of their temporary home, just outside the wire.
This is my bunk. This is where I sleep at night. We try and keep the place picked up as much as we can. It's hard to do with the dirt and stuff coming in.
Is it pretty quiet at night?
Yeah, at night it's pretty quiet until about 8:30 in the morning, and then we have trucks coming in and bringing us water and stuff, so it gets kind of messy then.
A lot of dirt, a lot of dust?
Yeah, there's a lot of dust because of the wind that blows through. We've got the mosquito netting. Just keeps the bugs off you at night.
And the nights. Those first nights were like something none of these Quad Cityans have ever seen or heard. So what about after dark here at Freedom Heights? Surely it must be a bit unnerving to know that just a few hundred feet from where you're sleeping, some of the most dangerous men in the world are being held.
When we heard the call to prayer the first time, it was a little unnerving because we didn't know if that was a ritual or if that was a riot.
Over time, both the guards and detainees would settle in.
Some of them we actually got to hear some of their stories, so it was just interesting to see what got them there.
Misty felt the anger, the hatred toward her, but refused to let that stop her from doing her job.
To be an NCO and a female and being in charge, that was interesting as well. I had some of them that just wouldn't give me the time of day, but I think I kind of treated them like I would my child, because we were their caregivers. And if they were in pain, they had no one else to go to but to us.
Oh, I miss them a lot. I miss them a lot.
Jerry Kroger was a lab tech and father of 5 back home. He, like many of the MPs, like all Americans, were reeling from 9/11.
And we're very professional. We knew what we were supposed to do. We just kept our feelings in check.
But you did have feelings.
Oh yeah, we did.
Experts would come and go, gathering more intel in these huts. But the guards spent each day with them in close quarters.
Some people there, I would say, were probably innocent. Some people were not. I don't know. It's just, it wasn't my job to do that. My job is to try to get as much intel, what's going on, and report it to higher up.
We were all mad. We were hurt. And we knew that those people may be the ones responsible for it. And there was no way that we were going to let them do that again.
Despite that anger, for 1 year, this unit would do its job. For 1 year, they would be on the front lines of history.
This is what I'm signed up for, and I finally get to do it. I'm just proud that I can do something for my country.
And tomorrow night, how their personal lives have changed since that service and the debate over the future of Gitmo itself. Back to the Bay tomorrow night at 10.
In his State of the Union address, the president vowed to shut down the detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. He called the place that has housed detainees from the war on terror since 2002 expensive, unnecessary, and a recruitment tool for America's enemies.
And Sharon, this is what the camp looked like when we went there on assignment in 2002 to cover Quad Cityans who were called to serve as military police. Shortly after, Camp X-Ray was deserted because it was only temporary as they started to build more and more permanent structures to house the detainees, what was now called Camp Delta. Operations have been going on since then. And as the future continues to cause heated debate today, many units have called this place home for the past 15 years, beginning with the first. And a lot has changed for them too. As tonight we take you back to the Bay.
It's just like a family tradition, I think, in our family that someone held that legacy and went in the service.
Misty Mills' family has a proud history of service. She was a single mother of two when she got the call to go to Gitmo to guard detainees deemed terrorist threats.
I had to leave my kids behind and go off and for a year.
The first of many changes she and others with the 339th Military Police had to adjust to. Another big change, the climate here. Just a few weeks ago in the QCA, there were several inches of snow on the ground. Here, the average temperature is 80 degrees year-round. Usually very windy, always extremely dry. In fact, we drank about 12 of these a day just to keep our fluids up.
The sun is hotter, the heat is different, and it takes a lot out of you.
And even at night, not much relief from the elements at Freedom Heights. This tent city was their home.
The mosquito netting on top of a landfill, yeah, that was that didn't go over real well, but luckily we didn't have to stay there for very long.
As you look at this now, when you heard you were coming over here, or even when you signed on, is this what you expected?
Yes.
Better or worse?
Well, worse, I suppose, because you live in a tent. I didn't expect to have wooden floors. I didn't expect things to be as accessible as they are, running water, showers. But they are. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Jason Stahl took what he learned at Gitmo, Kentucky, and Iraq and turned it into a career. Now training MPs himself.
You're okay. Just go in and stick that in the bucket.
And working on his small family acreage.
Where's everybody at down there? I am proud of putting the uniform on and doing my job, doing what's asked of me. I've gone a lot of places that I wanted to go, some places I didn't want to go. But somebody's got to do it, and as long as I can, I'm going to.
Ben's getting all the toppings.
In 2001, Jerry Kroger had 5 children, ranging from 6-year-old twins to age 14.
After the 3 weeks here, they took them kind of hard and stuff like that, but after that, they're starting to adjust to it, and they're doing fine. They're starting to get used to not being there.
Now always there is a proud grandfather in a growing family. His oldest daughter, who helped so much then, also learned so much from him.
He made a big sacrifice for us, and I'm just glad he's back home. And I would not be the person I am without him today.
Not long after we left Cuba in the spring of 2002, the camp itself started to change. Within months, Tent City for the guards and the chain link fence for the detainees were abandoned for more permanent units. There are now less than 100 detainees housed there, and the debate has been on whether or not the remaining men should be moved and the facility shut down.
I prefer not to have detainees in our country. It frustrates me sending some of the guys that we know that did bad things to us and stuff like that, releasing them, then they get filtered back in and they're part of ISIS or whatever. I would feel better if they keep that prison open and trial them and convict them and let them stay there.
I don't personally think it would be the greatest idea to shut it down, because that is a resource for us if and when we were to ever need to use Gitmo again.
Either way they go, they're kind of in the hot box. I mean, some of those people have been down there so long that if they actually ended up there by wrong place, wrong time, you've created, an enemy just because they're there. These are some of the articles.
Misty is moving forward with her life, fighting for those who came home to smiles and cheers, but who were hurting so much on the inside.
22 veterans a day that commit suicide. Unfortunately, we've lost 2 since the last 2 deployments. So, well, not the last 2, but those, Cuba and Iraq.
Using her time, training, and talents to make life better for those who have served and are serving now.
I'm in a position where I can still help soldiers in their missions now because I work at the Arsenal. Married, the kids are all older, and I have grandchildren now, so which is nice.
3 veterans finding their own ways to give back after giving so much for their country. Back in the day, back at Guantanamo Bay. You can watch this in part 1 of our Back to the Bay series right now at KWQC.com.